order the meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for Tuesday, October the 15th. I do not have any changes to the agenda, so if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A quick mayor's report. We were excited to get our sales tax numbers, and for all the students in the audience, when we get our sales tax numbers, they're reflective of our sales tax from 2 months prior. Okay, so the sales tax numbers that I'm reporting tonight are from August. So sales tax from the month of August came in at $1,360,079.59, which is up 26.99% from last month and up 5.5% from last year. Our 2% food and beverage came in at $466,764.14, which is up 38.24% from last month and up 15.2% from the same month last year. Hotel motel came in at $102,206, which is up 45.11% from last month, and it's up 1.18% from last year. So it was a very strong August for the Oxford economy. And we have got some really big weekends coming up. For the Oklahoma game weekend, we're going to have music on the square and food trucks on Friday night. And on Thursday, November 7th, we are excited to turn on our canopy of Christmas lights. We're doing that early this year because we want all the folks that come in town for the Georgia game to be able to experience our snow globe. So November the 7th, we are going to turn on the Christmas lights, 6:00 p.m. You'll be hearing more about that, but y'all come join us. All right, I'll ask you to authorize the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on October the 1st and the special meeting on October 10th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ask you to authorize the approval of accounts for all city departments.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ask you to consider the consent agenda.
Motion to consider the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Donna, if you'll come up, request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the FY 24-25 5311 grant contract for Oxford University Transit.
That's actually the current grant we're in as of October the 1. So if we can get that signed, so we'll be legal, that would be great.
Awesome.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the FY 24-25 5339 facility renovation contract.
That was for the small little renovation we're doing for $175,000 to put the flooring in on the second floor.
And Pope, have you seen that contract? Are you good?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Is there a motion
So
to?
moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, Chief, request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for the Oxford Lafayette Chamber of Commerce to host the Shop Oxford Holiday Open House on November 10th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yes, ma'am, they've requested just the pocket park there in front of City Hall, just during that time, so should be fine.
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for Ala Matalga to host a vigil on October 20th from 7:30 to 8:30.
Yes, ma'am, this will also be a request just for the pocket park during that time.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a contract with GreenServe for document services for the Oxford Police Department.
Yes, ma'am, so just changing from this company from Shredded to this company.
Okay? Got a motion? Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Rob, consider a contract renewal with Central Service Association for employee time entry services at Oxford Utilities.
Hey, good evening. This item is for a new system for Oxford Utilities for time entry. Currently, at Oxford Utilities, we track our employees' time on paper, and it's entered into the CSA system. CSA handles all of our accounting, work orders, payroll, all the systems inventory that we perform is all in the CSA system, and they're now offering a time entry system that would allow us to digitally track our employees' time. Employees can enter their own time, and this would I guess, bring us up to speed with the rest of the city, which is also using a digital time entry system. So I'm asking for your permission for the mayor to sign this proposal. Pope has reviewed it and made a modification, and CSA changed their proposal to meet Pope's request. And so just asking for permission to move forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Consider a proposal from W.L. Burley Engineers, PA, for a WWTP evaluation study for Oxford Utilities facilities.
Yeah, this item was in our fiscal year 25 budget, and it will, what Burley's proposing to do is to come in and take a look at all of our wastewater treatment facilities to determine if they can successfully meet current wastewater flows, requirements of the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NPDES permit. Essentially, MDEQ and EPA are revising their ambient water quality criteria for nutrients, and there's concern that the way we're currently treating our wastewater, we will not be able to meet that requirement. So Burley has put this proposal together to do an analysis of all of our wastewater plants, and then we'll see what they come up with and go from there. Right now, we just have to determine if we can make those modifications and treat that wastewater in-house.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Rob. Braxton, request permission to approve a copier maintenance contract with R.J. Young for the HR department.
Yes, this is renewing the contract with R.J. Young. This covers general government, HR, and the IT departments, or everyone upstairs uses this copier.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ashley, request permission to approve a list of final budget amendments and reallocations for FY 23-24.
Yes, this is a rather long list of our amendments and reallocations, but it's our final one for the budget, to bring things from budget to actual for a lot of the funds and accounts.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Mark, request permission to advertise for bids for the renovation remodel of the current Oxford Police Department building.
So we're in the design development phase of the renovation of the OPD building. We are expecting to open the new police station on December 12th, and that means fully moved in. So we would like to begin the renovation of the existing building as soon as possible after OPD moves over to the new building. We'd like to start this renovation of the existing building in January. So we're in the expectation of that, we're asking for permission to advertise for bids. So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Consider proposals received for property and casualty insurance.
Okay, so our property and casualty insurance is up for renewal on November 5th. We put out an RFP in early September, which we haven't done in about 8 years. We wanted to test the market, and we also got a notice of non-renewal from our current provider, which is EMC. We stipulated in that RFP that the agencies must have a local place of business and a point of contact within 60 miles of Oxford. We invited several local insurance agencies to participate in the RFP. Last week was our last week. We closed submissions, and we got one proposal from Brown Insurance. And Tatum's here tonight to fill in some gaps if I miss any and answer any questions, but just briefly give you an update on that. The proposal we received was from EMC, which is the same company that previously we received a non-renewal notice from. There are two differences in the policy that they provided that I'd like to highlight. The first one is an increase in premium by 26%. We went from 1.64 per $1,000 of scheduled value to $2.07 per $1,000 of scheduled value. The other difference is that the blanket policy is now a replacement cost at 110% of the scheduled value. So before if something were to happen to a building, we would get the total cost for the whole policy. We were able to use that. Now we can only have 110 of what the replacement of the scheduled value. The good news is the deductibles remain unchanged. It's $25,000 and $50,000 for wind and hail. Another agent reached out to me and told me he shopped our inventory as well. And I know that Tatum does this every year. He shops our policy around. For the past several years, he's done that. We haven't had a whole lot of interest. This other agent told me of the 11 other vendors he reached out to, 7 just declined coverage completely, and the other 5 were either blocked or not interested in providing a policy. So even though the premium did go up, there are factors to consider. And the first is in 2016, the total property schedule, which is first year EMC covers, was $31 million. And then 2017, we added 10 million, so we're $41 million. Today, we're at $121 million in schedule value. So it's really grown. Some of that obviously,
We've added quite a few facilities.
some of it's related to inflation, but it's mostly the facilities we've added. So that's one
Lodges and
thing.
Activity centers.
The second is the increase in property and casualties happening to policies across the southeast and other municipalities because of these large catastrophic events that we're seeing all around. And then, of course, inflation. Construction costs in 2016, even after you adjust for inflation, is higher now than it was in 2016. So based on all those factors, and really the main factor is we have one policy to consider, we recommend approval.
Can I ask this, are you comfortable with the schedule values are high enough to cover a catastrophic loss? And that's the real question, if you're not.
We adjust them every year. We add obviously our new buildings that come online, like for example, the police station. Is
New
covered-
police department, yeah.
I'm sorry, new police station is under builder's risk now. It'll transition to the schedule value, and we looked at it here. That's why we jumped from 31 in 2016 to 41, and we've gone up to 121. But
Tatum, do you have anything to add to that? Welcome to. If you,
Last year, we did a large assessment of the property schedule, and there were several buildings that were at $100 a square foot to rebuild. This one being one of them, and we took it to $250 a foot. And I think we need to take a look at that schedule every year, make sure that we're good with the.
Can you rebuild anything for $250?
I don't think you can build this building.
a storage shed.
This is the building, the one I've talked, we're concerned with,
This-
that
this-
they need more than that.
Well, I mean, all the bids we're getting on things are $350
Yeah,
to $450 a square foot.
We don't have to cover the full, I mean, I know we want to cover the full cost, but before it was a blanket policy.
So
Now that we've changed that, we've really got to look closer at the schedule value. Before that, we didn't have to pay as close attention per square foot because we had the blanket to cover us.
Right.
Also, the question I have is there coverage where we can pull from another property, or is it just one big policy? Meaning, if this building was destroyed and we only had it insured for $250 a square foot, and it ends up being $450 a square foot, can we pull from a?
That's the difference in last year's policy, this year's policy. We had a
That's the
blanket,
big
that's what a blanket would do. Now we're at 110%. So if we need to get this building to,
I mean, are we?
Well, I don't think we
My
have
question
any
is, are we
buildings
under-
that are
we under-
$250 a square foot, Tatum, honestly. I mean, you know, the Coach Howell Center was more than that a square foot when we built it
2007.
Well, and we are looking at that, again,
6,
the
8 years ago.
blanket
I mean-
changes things. The big piece of this is 110% of the schedule value, which we've never had before.
I know, but are we undervalued?
I mean, we can,
We know we can't build this back for $250 a square foot. We know that, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the only thing I'm sure of.
right, and so we can add to it at any time if we need to, and if we need to, then it's just gonna raise our,
We need to go into a policy that's not even gonna get us there right now. I mean, I really think we need to be looking at $400 a square foot across the board.
I've got a schedule of all the properties and what it is, the price per square foot. And I can amend that schedule and change it to full, and what it is now to 400 and see what that is.
there's also,
Because we've got till November the 5th, right?
We do
So
have
we've
to-
got a meeting before.
On the fifth.
but,
Is it
and
on the
again, we
fifth?
don't have to necessarily, we don't have
I
to
would
insure
rather have it
ourselves for
insured
the
before the
full
5th as well, so we
amount
might have to
either.
call a special.
I mean, that,
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm not saying we should self-insure, but we don't have to, we need to check, look at some other municipalities. I'm not sure that everybody, now this building is a little different, but I'm not sure that every building,
Should be 400.
Not
yeah,
gonna,
that,
we ain't gonna insure the team center.
that's right, that's right.
Take some of the risk to keep it
Do
burning
what?
down.
Yeah, like Hayakawa shouldn't be at $400 a square foot right now.
Right,
But
right. And as we bring new buildings online, we're using the cost that it costs to build that day. Like, so for example, this new police station will be a $12 million add to our policy because we know what it costs. We did that with the parking garage and with The activity center.
Activity Center.
But the place where we're getting current is, yes, that's what it cost us this year to build that. And it goes down in 3 years, or within this year. We're not getting that 12 million back. I mean, it's gonna cost us 15 million to rebuild that police department. I mean, it's just.
And I'm not sure, you may answer, I'm not sure they'll insure for more than the building costs. And we have to every year assess and add to, and that's why, again, that's why it's gone up four times what we originally started with.
I just think we need to be at $400 a square foot. And it doesn't have to be across the board, like Power
Well,
College doesn't need it, but
what-
the main building.
If we can
Let
put
Mark
together
go back to the
team-
list and,
Can you bring
And-
us can you bring us it's $300 square foot, here's $350 square foot, here's $400 square foot, here's your numbers. That's it.
Can we go ahead and approve moving ahead with working with EMC since that's our policy and we make those changes anytime?
oh, okay, so if we approve working with EMC, it's not like November the 5th is a drop dead date.
Right.
It's our
And we-
choice, it's our one choice anyway.
That's right.
And we can adjust those
But I think we need-
valuations.
I think we need to move.
going forward.
Faster on that than slower.
Yeah, well, I mean, but we could look at it on November the 5th, as long as we know that our policy does not lapse.
And if y'all want to make those determinations about how much per square foot for what building,
I think we
I
need
can
to
put all that together.
I think we need to.
I think we'll leave that.
All it's going to do is,
Okay, so then we need a
I'll make that
motion.
motion to move
Okay.
forward.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank y'all. Consider a proposal for demolition specialist for a hazardous material survey at City Hall.
so we do this for all our renovations per the federal regulations. We just did it for the OPD building, and I'm happy to report that we didn't have any lead or asbestos, so that's good. So we would now like to do that for this building.
There's a motion. Is there a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Mark.
Think we'll be that
Request
lucky here,
permission.
Mark? Think we'll be that lucky in this building?
Request permission to accept maintenance of the sanitary sewer lift station number 2 in the Old Oak subdivision. John?
Yes, ma'am. Old Oaks is the subdivision in the county off Campground Road. We agreed when they originally started developing that to accept their lift stations, that they're pumping their sewer from there to our sanitary sewer system. There will be a total of 3 in all when they're done. We've already accepted plant number 1, and plant number 2 has now reached the acceptable flow rate whereby we take them over. So this is a request to take it over.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Request permission to advertise for bids for the M-Trade Park Roundabout project.
Yeah, this is a project that the M-Trade guys had budgeted this year to construct a roundabout there at the entrance to Quad A, right there between the soccer fields and the parking lot. So engineering on that will be done in-house, and we hope to advertise for bids very soon so we can have a planned construction the next off-season.
All right, we budgeted for that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request permission to advertise for bids for the pedestrian signal improvement project at Bramlett Boulevard and University Avenue, another one of the projects we included in our 2025 budget.
Yeah.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request permission to reject the bid received from Brentag for the Sequest water treatment chemical and accept the bid from AquaSmart for the 24-25 materials bid. John?
Yes, so recall last meeting, you accepted the bid tabulation for our 24-25 material bids, which included chemicals to treat our water supply. One of those chemicals, when we requested the specifications from the manufacturer, did not meet our regulations. So what we're asking you to do is reject that bid and go with the bid for the one that is approved. It is somewhat higher, but it's what we've been using and what we require.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request permission to implement traffic calming measures on Hathorne Road. John and I have talked about this several times, and we have a creative solution that we want to give a try, but I wanted the board to be aware of. It'll be something different than we've used anywhere else. It's something we've talked about several times, but John, give us a rundown.
Yeah, so the idea is to build a series of curb extensions, bulb belts, chokers, whatever you want to call them. Kind of gives the perception of narrowing the road, particularly right there where you go into that 90-degree turn at Campus Walk and Northridge condos. We've done a couple of speed studies there that have indicated they're flying around that curve at about 30 miles an hour, which doesn't seem fast, but around a 90-degree curve is fast. There's a lot of student pedestrian traffic that walks across there during class days and especially on game days. And there is no sight distance if you're coming from Jackson Avenue around that curve. So if you take it at 30 miles an hour, you're not likely to see somebody crossing from Northridge condos across the street or vice versa. So what we're trying to do is slow people down in that curve. And we think speed tables are not a good option for this area. So this is something that the city of Starkville has done with some success, and we'd like to try it out here and see what we get.
I took some pictures of them last time I was in Starkville, and they really work. I mean, they slow you down. We are talking about doing kind of a brick paver stamp on top of them so that they look nice. It's not just a concrete block, but so we'll do kind of like we did the crosswalk down there, where you do the stamp on it and stain it.
This
Did
project,
that, and
yeah.
we did that on the ones Mark in Windsor Falls, that are on the cut through street. We landscaped them until everybody drove through them about 20 times, and then we went back and did the stamp.
You need another one on the north side of the curve, just to keep people from, if I'm looking at it and they're coming from Jackson Avenue and they're taking the inside curve, what's gonna keep them from just going out a little further in the lane?
So I thought about that. That's a possibility. The only thing that gave me pause about that is there's a fairly regular OUT bus that comes out of there at that bus stop, and I don't want to give them problems making the turn out into Hathorne into a narrower road right there.
I just, if I see somebody coming through there, I see them just kind of they're probably taking that curve wide. If you're doing 30, you're kind of taking that curve wide anyway. So something to push them. That was, I get that. And I did have one drawn there, and then I looked at the bus schedule, and that they come out of there about every 30 minutes or so. So that was the only thing and we'll look at that, and I'll bring a final map to the mayor before they actually go in. But there is a bus route that goes through here regularly, so I want to be mindful of that as well. And this project will be done with a mixture of city forces and the contractor that got our concrete material bid for this year. So we're talking 15-20 grand to do this.
And I think it'll let us know if it works. I think there's some other places around town that would be a good solution if we give it a whirl and try it. So, thank you. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request approval of change order number 1 for the Thacker Road Water Improvement Project, John.
So they're encountering some really bad material in some of the trenches out there. Thacker Heights was built some time ago in the county, and some of the material is not good. We're hitting a lot of debris and stuff, so they're having to bring in good material. So this change order for 36 grand is to cover that extra good stuff.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Congratulations, students, on picking perhaps the most boring, but also the shortest meeting we've had in about 2 years. So you won. Y'all have a good night. The board, if someone would move to consider an executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The board will now consider an executive session.